Hi everyone, Sean here from the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and we are on Chapter 3 of the build series for the AMT Enterprise D build. This is a 1400 scale model, and we have made a lot of progress. I'll give you a little show of where we are here. So here's the star drive section, pretty much all done with the decals and stuff like that. But for this video, guys, we're going to be talking about the lighting here in this neck area and the decisions that I made to do that. So if you're planning on building this one, you don't want to miss this one. Since a lot of people had asked for, how do I do lighting and stuff, we're going to spend a lot of time just showing the basics of what I do to light the model and little tricks and little tips that I have. So if you're new to lighting or you haven't done much of it, you definitely want to check out this one. I think I have a pretty good technique, but if any of you are out there that have any hints or tips for me, please let me know. I want to learn. So you just let me know. We're all about sharing here. And that's pretty much it. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the colored lightings and color lights that we do in that little section and stuff. But the build's going really, really well, you guys. I've got the saucer section here. I've only got the bottom part of the saucer now to put the decals on. And then it's going to be assembly time and just wiring and building a base for this. I mean, I've got so much footage recorded. I could probably take 2 months off. Well, I don't know about 2 months, but I could take quite a while off, but I'm going to keep trucking. Anyway, we are, folks, at 1,050 subscribers at this moment, and so thank you all. Keep them coming. It's really helping. So we're going to be doing the hashtag Enterprise drawing really soon. Probably after this video, I'll probably push it one more time to get enough people to enter in for their chance. So hashtag Enterprise. And enter that in the comments of this video or any, and you'll be entered to win the giveaway of the 650 build that we've talked about. So really looking forward to picking that winner there. Had to edit there. Big sneezing fit came over me. So that's it, everyone. Enjoy the video. We're not doing any viewer mail this week. This session hit it right at 30 minutes, so we're going to go straight into the video. But please send me those pictures. Keep them coming. It's the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. Any model work that you've done, it doesn't have to be sci-fi. Just send it to me and we'll show it off here. And that's it, everyone. We'll see you soon. Okay. See you down the road. Well then, welcome back, everyone. Here we are with Chapter 3, at least it should be. And we're going to start lighting this sucker. Now, there's going to be a lot of content here for the lighting because in looking at the model, we are going to have to be pretty creative to get everything illuminated properly. So, before going any further, I will point out, I have decided to use regular bright white LED. I know for all the other starships that we've done for the windows and stuff, we've used warm light. But in thinking on the Next Generation show, the lighting on the ship, all the windows were very bright white light. So I do want to kind of get this as close to screen accurate as possible. The Enterprise from the original series, for example, is a little bit warmer, a little softer light, but the Enterprise D was white, very white light on there on the window. So we're going to go with that. So here we are. This is the first part that we're going to be lighting. This first part I've done, and we're going to start with the neck here. So here's the top. This is where the saucer section connects. Here's the kind of cobra head, as it were. And we're going to... and by the way, I went ahead and glued all this stuff together last night, and this has been sanded down. I got rid of the seam line in there pretty nicely, and that's looking really good and smooth. I puttied it. Now, you do see that there's the black paint has been rubbed off here from the sanding, but not to worry, we're not going to get any light spots coming through here because we've got this is the front of the ship. There's no lights up here, so we're okay as far as that. There's not going to be any problem with light coming through there. At least it shouldn't. And I did go ahead and through here in the seam, I just put some really thick black paint, which is right here, this model color stuff. So I just kind of went through there and kind of squirted that in pretty thick, and it's nice and set. The other little thing I did here to prep for it, I did get the pin vise. And if you're unsure what a pin vise is, it's this little guy right here. It's a kind of a hand drill. You put the little drill bit in there, and you can very slowly and accurately get a hole. So I did drill a hole right through here. That's for the torpedo launcher, and we're going to use some fiber optics to put through there with the little mushroom tip technique that we do with a lighter, and that should be not a problem. Just paint that the head of it with clear red, and it should give a nice little torpedo effect there. Okay, well, this section's about we're talking about lighting, so get to it, Sean. Okay, all right. So with the neck here, we have a lot of lights here on the side, and you can see we don't have that much room in here to work with. So we're going to try to avoid putting we need to avoid putting any light strips on the plastic here, because there's so many windows. You can see if we put light strip there, it would just cover up and mask a bunch of windows. You'd see these two dark strips. So we don't want that. So the other what I had to devise was a way to kind of suspend the lighting in here. So and again, I'm sure other builders have come to this solution. There's only one part of this build so far where I've looked at what another builder did, and we'll cover that when the time comes. So we're going to make use of the sprue, and you all know, or if you've been with us for a while, you know I'm a big fan of using sprue pieces from the kit and not throwing any of this away, because we can always make use of this stuff, and this is no different. So what we're going to do here is use this sprue to hold 3 sections of the LED strip. We're going to do one on the top, or 2 sides, and then the bottom. You'll see when I can. It's fun. It's not sticking there, of course. So sorry, I fumbled for words a little bit there. So I'm going to remove this here, and so what we're going to do, and I've cut this to angles. Well, let me show you if we can bring it up here. You can see this is kind of at an angle there. Right there, it goes this way. Sideways, and then this one goes diagonally this way. Hopefully you can see that, and that is to make sure we get a flat connection on the piece. So let's bring the tape. I'm gonna have something to hold this up a little bit, I think. So what we're gonna do, this is going to sit about like this here, okay? And well, why don't I put this on? This is going to go in here kind of like this. And I apologize. I didn't plan out talking about this. So anyway, you can kind of see there that it's kind of suspended. It's midway up there. And I'm really stuttering, you guys. I'm really sorry about that. I'm just trying to think of what words to say here and to keep this there. But there we go. Let's zoom in. And you can see here, this is kind of suspended. There's room underneath here. So we're going to put a strip of lighting on either side here and then on the top. And that illuminating this way should be enough, hopefully, to light up all these guys here. These some windows right there. There's windows down here on the back of the neck and the side views. So there's in total 18 LED lights in here. And that should theoretically be enough. If it's not enough, if we need some more help for these lights up here, I did mark off on the bottom part of the Cobra head here, just 2 lines there. We can put 2 strips of LED there, just a section of 3 there and a section of 3 here. I don't think we're going to need it, but I did mark that just in case. We're going to give it a shot without it. So without further ado, let me turn on my handy soldering iron. And the first thing we're going to do, and again, a lot of you who've done lighting before, excuse me, anyone who's done lighting before, you can probably skip this little part here, but or not. I mean, you can see how I do it, and either you may learn something or you may have a tip for me. So either way, maybe just keep watching. So yeah, and we're gonna not do this for every single part of the lighting, this part, but I figure why not show a little bit of a kind of a tutorial, or just like a document how I do it. I have had a couple people ask me before about doing a lighting tutorial. So why not? Why don't we just we'll document how I do it. Well, let's not call it a tutorial. We're just going to document what Sean does. All right, so I put the tape down there just to hold this because it was curved, and I got a little strip of tape right here, and you can see I've got the wire, and it's pre-cut right there. And this is another tool here that I have. This is a wonderful tool that my cousin Randy gave to me, along with the dental pick. This here is probably the number 2 on the useful tools I have for building. So this and the dental picks right there. And I just went ahead and pre-cut just a little tip off of there just to get it so that it will go onto the strip here. Okay, so if you're doing these, if you're new to them, you'll see down here there's some writing here that says DC 12V plus. That's just essentially means that's the positive side. So what I like to use tape. Some people are probably pretty good at just doing this by hand, but I like to use the tape there for these things just because it holds it down, and it takes a little bit of extra time to set up. But in the end, I generally get really good connections on these things with one shot. So what I'll do here, if I'm doing these 3 pieces, I'll set up all 3 at once for the positive side, and then I'll go ahead and do it for the negative as well. So the thing you want to do here, and I always try to straighten these things out a little bit, put the tape right in the middle, and you want about 1 centimeter or so in between the tape and where the edge is. Okay. And you'll see why these 3 sections here are so short in a minute here. All right, so I've got the soldering iron heated up, ready to go here. Let's make sure that it's untangled. Okay. And I've got my solder. Solder or solder. I know it's solder, like SODDER, but there's an L in it, and I never know how to pronounce it. Okay. I've got it set at 650. This is a nice little flat, kind of like a screwdriver flat. It's not focusing. Sorry about that. It's like a regular straight screwdriver shape, and this has worked good for me. I used to use one with a point on it, but I've found that this flat head screwdriver size works a lot better. Okay, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit there just to make sure, and you see the smoke. I try not to breathe it in, and all I'll do here is just touch it there. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get in the groove of these. I have to do 1 or 2 of them, and then I can get into a groove, and I can start doing these things pretty quickly. But there's definitely a touch that you have to learn to these things. How long do you press down on it? Because if you press down on it too much, you're going to melt these things. But if you can see here, we've got 3 nice and neat connections there. Just a little blob of the solder went on there, didn't smear and run over there. This ended up pretty good. I'm getting better at this. It just takes a lot of practice. Okay, so next step here, we're going to do the same thing, but just with the negative side, and I will go ahead and leave these pieces of tape on there. May as well. And the other piece of advice, and something I did not follow, is before you start wiring these things up, it's a good idea to test them. And if you have if you have a power supply, and I would call power supply is definitely up there with the dental pick and the wire stripper. I used to just connect a 9-volt battery to some wire and test stuff that way, but boy, am I glad I got this power supply. It was worth every penny. Every single penny. Okay. Okay, there we go. And the reason we leave the tape on for this the positive ones, I don't want these wires flopping around on me and getting in my way and stuff. Okay. All right, we're going to do the same thing as before. That kind of came off. That is not centered. Stay on. Ah, that should be okay. That's good enough. That stays. Now that is not staying on there. Some there. Pull a little bit more on that one. There we go. Okay, and then I have my wet sponge here, and I always try to wipe this thing off. Okay, so I'm gonna shut the soldering iron off just to be safe. My soldering, I like it. I got it at Lowe's. It's a Weller. I think it was about $75. It's a really nice one. It's got the spring, the little spring thing to hold it. Well, I'll just move it over here. Yeah, it's right there. There she is. And you can set the temperature there to what you want, and then there's the on and off, and it does have a sleep mode. If you don't touch it for a while, it will turn itself off, which is really nice. My old one didn't have that feature, and one time I left it on, like a real smart person would. So, all right. Well, let's see here. And the other thing to consider here before I move on, you got to think about where the wires are on here and where you want them to come out, because we don't want to put the wires this way, of course, because they'd be going to the front of the ship, so they have to go over this way. I've made that mistake a few times. Okay, so about right there, I think that's what we said, right? Okay. We're going to tape that there now, or with the sticky stuff. Now, as always, we have talked many times about, let's make sure that you're seeing what I'm doing here, okay? About this tape here, and this stuff is sticky. It does do a good job of holding your tape in place for a while. It is not, I definitely do not recommend doing this in any kind of a permanent way. Okay, so we've got the two pieces there, and we're doing a third one so that the kind of, and again, this is so the light goes all the way around in this thing. But before I put this on, these things are all kind of touching each other. So what I want to do is I'm going to put some CA glue right here in this bit. There we go. And that way we'll know that these light strips will be on there permanently and they're not going to go anywhere. Okay, that should do it. So there we go. We got a really nice kind of a triangle, tri-directional light thing going on. We got pretty much all the way around. And let's make sure that that's not going anywhere. A little bit of the accelerant. This thing is almost empty. I really like this stuff. I used to have the spray kind that was like aerosol, but this stuff is pretty good. A little more controllable. Okay, so now we've got this mess of hair here, and what we're going to do is we are going to just connect them all, and then we're going to put one wire coming out of them, because I got to remember not to have too many strands of wire going down. It would be an ugly mess. Okay, had to edit that down. So here, these little three guys are all connected here and here. And what we're going to do is we're cutting some longer pieces of wire here to so I can connect it down, get it through the ship later on, and then also to test it on the old power supply. So we're just connecting this thing here. There's that one. Again, I mean, this thing is so cool. You just put these little guys in there, snip it, and then you pull away your edge. What a time saver this tool is. Okay, what I'm probably going to end up doing is using the helping hands tool. So that's another cool thing. I don't use this thing too much, but in cases like this, it's really nice to have. So let's bring the old helping hands tool. And you can pick this up at any hobby shop. Hobby Lobby has it. Regular Hobby Town has it. And it's pretty good. Okay. Let's see. Let's have one holding it there on this with the sprue, and this one here like that. Okay, there we go. This is always a little tricky. I know they make stuff like it's called liquid electric tape or something. I have to look into that. All right, that's good enough for that one. I think. Yep. And over here, we'll have it for this guy. Again, we're not going to be doing this whole shenanigans here for the whole model. This is just kind of like a little primer. So there we go. I just tinned that up real quick, wiping off the thing. Turn off the power supply or the soldering iron. And hopefully hopefully this will work. And prepare to be blinded, hopefully. There we go. And you can see there all three strips are working well. Now I don't want to touch these together. We'll cross the streams there. So we'll document, or we'll film the last part of this. And get those helping hands out of the way. And that part is the shrink tubing, which is a wonderful product here. And I've already cut a couple little strips of this stuff. You can get this from HDA Model Works. I don't know if they're in stock right now, but you can order it from them, from Jerry, or you can order it from many different sources. So it's just the small. I think it's 1.5 millimeter. It's the smallest kind they have, because this is only 30 gauge wire. And this stuff is invaluable. Really good product. I like using this way more than I do electrical tape because it will not come off. And you just put it over there and you get a lighter here. And you just run the lighter under it for a second or two and it shrinks from the heat, and that's it. It's just like electrical tape. And it does a really good clean job. You don't have anything hanging over and stuff. But surprisingly though, the stuff comes in usually when you buy it in sections of 3 feet. It's surprising how fast you go through it, because this is about 1 inch. You think, oh, 3 feet, that's big, but this is 1 inch. 3 feet's only 36 inches. So if one model can easily have 30 or more wiring connections. You can go through 3 feet in one model pretty quickly. Or pretty easily. Okay, so that works. And now these are really long. I'm probably going to cut them short later on. But now what we're going to do is we got to remember where the wire's coming out. Don't want to put it over here. So I will just put it right here. And what we're going to do, well, that's coming off. Well, that is not good, Janet. Should be okay. Yeah, it's pretty tight now. I think we're good. Okay. At least we hope so. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so it's going to be about right there. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. And this is a cool trick that I learned before. So let me zoom out a little bit. Now we're going to put, let's mark it where we're going to put it. I'm going to use the marker here. So I've got the little thing there. It's right where I want it. So I'm going to put a mark there and a mark down here. And here's what we do. We're going to get a little bit of spare plastic. This is like a thing for my putty and paint and stuff like that. It's just like a little palette. And I'm going to, okay, quick edit. All right, so put a little bit of CA glue there, and that should stay wet for a little bit. And this is the cool thing. So if you're doing if you're applying CA glue to something and you want it to set real quick, you can use the InstaSet, and you can kind of pre-apply your InstaSet. So what do we mean? Well, we marked it here. So I'm going to take the little bit of InstaSet here. You don't need much of this stuff. And I did a lot there. I literally just did the opposite of what I said. How about that? All right. Well, there we go. It was by mistake. I pumped it a little too much. Okay. So we put the InstaSet there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our glue and apply it here with a little swab. I suppose I could just touch it in there. Get a little bit more on there. Okay. And that way, when I hold it down, the InstaSet should start reacting with it right away, at least long enough to get this to stay. Maybe not quite so much. But it's probably what's happening is just the angle of this isn't flush with the styrene, which is probably why that's happening. That's what I wanted to avoid, is kind of doing that goop stuff. Where's my spray? There it is. Give it a little more in there. Yeah, this is running out, and I have some more. Okay, that should be... Let's give it a test. We'll lift it up. There we go. All right, so that I'm able to lift it. I don't want to put too much weight on it, of course. But there we go. So there it is. And now why don't we give this a test, and we'll see if we need to put these extra 3 strips there. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Turn this on. Oh, it failed. That's because the wire came out. Okay. All right, let's turn off the light up here, and we can get a better idea of what's happening. Okay, so we've got some really nice illumination there along that neck side and that neck side. Everything's really, really nice. And we've got great illumination here. All right, so it turned out we won't need to do the little strip of 3 on the underside of this thing over here. This is perfect. This is illuminating everything exactly how I want. We've got 360 degrees or therefore, or just thereabouts, sorry. Inside there, it's really lighting it up. And, well, okay, great. That makes me happy. I love it when a plan comes together, as the great George Papard said. Okay, well, that's the first lighting of the build, you guys. A little bit longer of a session than the rest are going to be because we're documenting for those of you who are new to lighting, or maybe want to see how I do it. I'd like to see how you do it. If you have some better techniques or anything, please, by all means, let me know. Let all of us know. Share your knowledge. That's why this channel's here. It's for sharing. It's not to show off. So, all right. So I'm going to put this away and grab the saucer section and try to figure out what strategy to do there. But it's going to be something similar to this. We just have to come up with a scheme and a design. And then as soon as I have that, I'll be back and show you. Okay, stand by. Okay, just a little supplemental video here. So just want to point out here, there are some lights here that I put in. I was looking at some footage of the Enterprise D, and it looks like there are two of these kind of just warm white lights. Maybe they were yellow in the shots, but I chose a warm white that are there on the back of the Cobra head there. And sorry about the blinding. Underneath there are the duplicate of the same, warm yellow there, or warm white, and then a green nav light and a red port and starboard one. So I went and put those in. These here are 0805 warm white SMDs, and these are the 3020. I think that's what they are. Let's take a look. Yeah, 3020 red SMD and 3020 green SMD. These are the ones I've kind of converted to instead of 0805 on the green and reds, because you can see here they're a little bit bigger and they're brighter. You get a little bit nicer effect there. The 0805s, just for the red and the green, just aren't quite as bright as I would like them to be. So these ones are nice and crisp. So, yeah, these are just underneath that. I almost missed it. I was just looking at some flyby videos of the Enterprise, and this is that. So, I need to do a little bit of thinking here, but I think I am ready to close this section up here. I mean, this portion of the build. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will jump on the other lighting. But I think that's going to be doing it for this video, this chapter, because we did spend quite a bit of time looking at the lighting and all that. So we'll be back next week, probably, with the other lighting schemes that we're going to do, and it'll start going a lot more quickly here. Yeah, just wanted to show this off, and it's looking really good, everyone. Pretty happy with this. Okay, see you soon.